Okay, this video is for Bill, who wants to learn how to take apart the RCA SFT100W. Basically what you're going to do first is you're going to screw the 4 screws to the front panel, which I'm doing right now. This actually takes the reed head off the front of the machine. We're basically doing a step-by-step here. And then you just flip it over just like this, like I'm doing now. And you're going to take off the... There's usually a couple other things you have to take off in front here, which I'm doing. And basically I'm going to show you the top of it basically. This is just taking the front cover off, and that's just the head unit. And that metal rod that I was talking about is this right here, which you should never touch with your fingers, which you should always use a glove when touching this, when removing this head unit for the stylus, and basically servicing the belt to the clutch and mechanism right here, which has to be taken apart. In your fact, that's what's basically wrong with yours, which has to be done. I'm going to show you how to break down and actually take this all apart right now. Basically, the two that go here in the back, these 2 1/4 bolts, you're actually going to unscrew these and take these off. You're actually, this is called the 1 to 10 basic skip for the pull when the motor pulls forward to bring the reed head forward. Take that off and put it to the side. Basically, now that you have the reed head completely apart here in the front, that you swerved over the main control panel and took off, which is the lead here in the front, which is usually a metal bracket, something like this. On yours it's probably different. They usually connect all together as one piece with the plastic, but as long as you have the top reed head off, you're fine. Basically what you're going to do next is you're going to unplug this wire back here, which is the reed head wire. Alright, and then next is there's a bolt in the front here on the yellow little tab that's here. You're going to remove this bolt, alright, so that you can free up the wire. Alright, now basically you put this screw back in here so you don't lose it, because it's very crucial. Alright, now the next part is you need gloves. I've actually done this too many times, so basically what you're going to do now is you're going to lift this side up. Okay? The rod comes with it, and you're going to pull the rod out, and you're going to pull this up, and then you're going to pull it completely out. Make sure that the stylus is removed from the reed head unit. It can damage it if you lay this down. And make sure that nothing comes in contact with this metal rod right here. This is the metal rod that I've been talking about. If you have cloth, or if you're using gloves, obviously, take this and clean this. And then put it back with it, and then put it on a table, like I'm basically doing now. Now the part that you're explaining you want to do is this one. Okay, there's one screw down up in here, which I'm going to try to show you real quick. There's that screw there, that one there, the one back there, and then the one in the corner. Once you remove all 4 of those, you could actually get this unit out. Another thing that you might want to do, just in case, this saves time too on top of it, the 2 front screws that I was pointing to, that one and this one, you want to leave those just a little loose so that you can slide it back and forth. And always remember to remove that counter pin right there with a little mini flathead, which I sometimes can remove by hand. That's one thing that does need to be removed. Sometimes you can actually get away with it if you have like a screwdriver or something. You just go in there and pop it forward. That's all you got to really do. Okay. Now we will remove the handle from it now that we have it completely loose and I have the screws out of it. Basically, you don't need the gloves anymore. What you want to do now is this whole thing comes apart, which I'm going to point here. This is your clutch brake unit, which the pad is supposed to be securely inside this. Okay, when it spreads out of it means that it's breaking apart and it's deteriorating, which is very common on a lot of these machines, I've noticed. The little lever here is the engagement and disengagement whenever the machine moves back and forth with the load and unload lever. A lot that I've seen, as you can see here, I put a little bit of grease on this gear here and on the spider here as well. And in the inside one, behind this big gear, on the inside here is the motor. And inside there you'll actually see a, I don't know if you can see it, but a white belt that I actually installed in here that works pretty well with the machine. And I actually have the tooth on that one. And basically what you have to do is you have to remove these two screws on the outside here and the screw on this side, and then you have to separate it a certain way without boggling this side where the clutch is. And basically, like I said, it's pretty much easy to get it out once you unscrew all these parts and components, and then you have to unsolder the two parts where the motor is. As I always say, take a picture of the back of this, because where the colors go, you can't screw these two up. These have to go back in the same particular spot that they came off in. This is actually a newer type motor for the machine. On the other, it's the same number. It's just basically a newer type motor that has diodes in the back. That's all it is. It's a Japanese-made one. The other ones are Taiwan-made, original for the SFT. This is actually an SGT. It was a little different, but that's basically, this is the same component as is the SFT. So I hope you get the hang of this and you'll be able to take it apart. Which is, yeah, it's a lot of screws, but still, just to get this part out, it's a pain. But once you get it out, you can send it to me and I'll repair it for you. All right, and that's the end of my video. Oh, and another thing. The one thing that I was talking about in the reed head, don't want to touch this with my hand, but got the glove. All right. In there, on the top of the reed head, I'm actually going to show you a blow-up valve of this and basically show you and explain it. Your whole reed head top, this is where your stylus goes. You got the pitcher tube thing in there that comes out. In here is a non-serviceable box, RCA kind of soldered this together, which if you're smart, you unsolder the 2 points. I actually have already gotten to this point. I've actually gotten this off, and you could actually untake the cover off, okay, because this usually doesn't line up correctly anyway. But right in there is the adjuster for the reed head to move back and forth. This tells that motor how to move forward in steps. If that's not adjusted properly, it won't go forward properly. And a lot of people ask me this on the SFTs, the SGTs. It's a little white knob, and you usually need an Allen key. And I think the correct one that I have here is actually the one, if I'm right. It's actually a T10, and that's what you should be using to adjust that, because it actually fits in there. If you use the 1.5 Allen key, it kind of gets stuck in there, and then you're kind of going to break it, and you don't want to do that. So that's best bet is get a T10 star key. It's a little small socket set, star key set. But basically that's how you would adjust that, left and right. You might want to unsolder the cover like I did. That's the main thing you might want to do. It was a pain for me to get it off because this one is chrome. On the older models they're copper, so you might want to do that. But yeah, that's basically how you would service that after that part is fixed. And a lot of the dealers, I guess, they were having issues with this in the past, so with the machines not working correctly and a lot of all these issues and problems. But in the long run, taking it apart and putting it together is pretty easy. I'm going to actually this is going to be the take apart video. I'm actually going to do the put it together assembly in about a few minutes, so you understand how to put it back together without going crazy on this. Alright, and that's going to be the end of this video right here. There's other possibilities if you have a turntable problem. I know a lot of issues with these. You start getting shady colors back and forth, or color fading, or picture not correct on the screen, in and out, black and white. Usually it has to do with the belt being from not using it, or excessive use means that the belt has stretched, and basically you have to go from there, as in getting a new belt. I know John at CEDA2M, he supplies the belts for the turntables. Surprisingly, he's the only one, and they actually work. I've actually seen a lot of these actually work. So the belts that I got from them actually work pretty good, but they're not cheap. They're pretty expensive. They run about $7, $8, $9. They're not cheap. That's basically it, and that's the only thing that really goes wrong with these machines, besides the turntable belts and the adjuster for the center to do the turntable height. So basically that would be it for this. This will be the end of this video, and I'm going to send you this one ASAP, and then the next video I'm going to send you is going to be the rebuild.